You stupid bitch. Yeah, you're a stupid bitch. You stupid bitch. Welcome to this week's episode of Stupid Bitches Say What, the Aussie podcast about everything and nothing, but always with wine. And your hosts, Scarlett Collett and Sean Hipkins.
This week, it's pop culture, so sit back and relax as we go on a magical and whimsical, but sometimes terrifying journey of Disney.
Ugh.
The man, his creations, and the controversies attached to the Disney brand. Also, it's a double, so second bottle, no judgment, please.
Pause.
What are you drinking, Sean Beaner Hipkins?
Well, darling buds of May, I am drinking a bottle of white because it's heated temperatures
like
here in
me.
Australia at the moment. And I had to, this one's not so chilled because you may recall from last episode, I hadn't put it in there and a bit ago. It's a Barraro de Varcia de Duaro, a
Sounds
Bronco,
foreign.
2021 white.
From where?
Portugal.
Oh, Portugal, Portuguese, plus.
It's Portuguese-y.
It's like some paella.
Yeah, it's a pale yellow. And let me taste it and see how that goes.
Please do. I'm excited.
It's quite nice actually. So it's a Duero.
Ooh,
A
or would you say
Branco light.
Doro?
Or Doro.
A Doro? A Doro?
Or a Douro.
That's very Australian.
Or Souro.
Doro. Doro.
Doro.
I'll have
How
a
about
Doro,
you,
please.
stupid bitch? What are you doing?
Well, I
What are you
am
drinking, I mean?
on the vodka sods. Please cheers to that.
Stein of.
That's my, you can tell
Getting
because
into this spirit, the Oktoberfest
yes,
vibe.
I am indeed for next weekend. But yes, I'm trying to take it a little bit easier tonight. I started with the beers. Now I'm on the vods.
Nice.
Because wine just makes me silly. I don't know if you knew that about
Does
me.
make you a little cray. I like that about you,
Just
though.
a little cray. Just a little cray. I do have to say though, there's nothing more refreshing than a vodka soda with a strong squeeze of lime and ice in it. It's
Fresh
delicious.
lime only.
I feel like I could scull this. This is how delicious
Okay,
it is.
go on, I dare you.
No, I'll spew.
Skull. That's funny, actually. I'll say when we were in Bali, and we're in the Legends Bar, they had like a competition and they had girls come up for their birthdays and all this shit. And when they were up there, they all got a cocktail and then they all had to sit there and scull it while everyone chanted, skull, skull, skull. And I was saying to Vinny, there is no way in hell this would pass in Australia.
No, not at all.
At all. And also, when we were in the Legends Bar, Vinny's first first half an hour of it was just like, oh my God, where the hell am I? I have never been surrounded by so many Australian bogans in all my life. And everything was catered to the Aussies. I had not heard as much Jimmy Barnes in my life as I had in those 6 nights.
Love Jimmy.
Yeah, but they play him all the time. And that other one. Ba, ba, ba. Good times never seem so good. Sweet Caroline.
Yeah, Sweet Caroline.
Every pub played that all the time and everyone sang along. It's you and Tyler would fucking love it.
I love a good sing along. I love
You would love it. We're
That's
totally
my
doing it.
favorite. Yes, we have to. But noted I made it in a really big glass so that it would last me, but I don't think it's going to last. I'll be like setting a little cheeky messenger to my husband going, can you please go and get me another vodka soda, please, dear husband?
It was mainly ice anyway. It looks like it's mainly ice and lime.
Exactly. I put quite a bit of vods in.
Mm.
Got to get up at 5. Got to get up at 5.
Had a gill.
So, how's your week been, stupid bitch?
The week has been good. Besides that little update. Oh, so just to continue on quickly from the Bali. So after Vinny was terrified about being surrounded by Aussie bogans, within about half an hour, he was fucking loving it. He was in his element.
Oh, he loves a good bogan. He loves a good bogan.
He does. So he totally bought it. So my week's been good. So as per usual, maybe with my pop culture episodes, a couple of TV shows that I've been watching
Sure.
on Netflix. First one I'll talk about is called One Piece. Have you seen it advertised?
Oh my God. So Link is obsessed with the cartoon and has watched all the no, there's thousands of episodes. Sorry, I'm saying there's 300 or 600, but there's not. I think there's like, they're in the 1300s or something of episodes of the
Wow.
cartoon. So Link's watched them all. And then we knew that the live TV show was coming out. And he tried to convince me to watch it with him. And I compromised by saying, let me at least watch the trailer. Never seen the cartoon, mind you, but I know how obsessed he is with it. And I put the trailer on and I said, no way in hell I'm going to watch that,
Did
I'm
did
afraid.
has he watched the real one?
He has. The last time I spoke to him about it, I think he'd watched the first and the second episode maybe and said it just doesn't convert to live action.
Oh wow.
It's
See,
not as good.
the only reason, because I've seen it advertised, and the only reason I gave it a go was I'd read a thing saying it was one of the good ones that had been converted from the comic
Okay.
to live action. And I
Anime.
gave it a go, and I've quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, okay.
I've done 3 episodes so far. Each episode feels like it could be a level on a computer game, if you
Yes.
know what I mean. It's very clever in the way that the characters are thought out, and
That's what
what's
the
happening
show is.
behind it. Yeah,
It's
it's
got a
very
huge cult following, like insanely cult following the cartoons.
yeah. There's like a certain, I think it's called the devil's fruit, and if someone eats it, there's no two devil's fruit is the same. You get a certain power from it, basically. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's very, you can see the comic book of it. It's set in a obviously a different universe, like it's pirate days, but people have
Mm.
funky modern clothing and shit like that. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So anyone who's toying with the idea, just watch episode 1 maybe and just see
I'll
how it
have to give
goes.
that feedback to Link. I don't know if he's continued on with it, but he did say to me that the whole stretchy arm thing that One Piece has
Yeah,
just doesn't, come across, like the special effects of it is just not
as
good
cool
enough.
as it was in the cartoon.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it was just too fakey, or I don't know if fake's the right word, but just not the way it's supposed to be. But I guess how do you
Right.
make that in a live action show? Like
And
how do
how do
you
you, yeah, and
adapt that?
I haven't seen the cartoon, so I've got nothing to compare it to. So as someone who's just seen the live action, I've thought it was great. So maybe I would love the cartoon as well.
You should
The,
actually try the cartoon. It's like huge. Like Link, when he started watching it, and this is a couple of years ago, he became obsessed and literally just did nothing but watch it from end to end. And from what he's told me, some seasons go for like 40 episodes, but some will only go for 10.
oh wow.
And I think they're notorious for killing off main characters as well,
Oh
like
well, that's
like
good to know.
big characters. And that creates a whole nother storyline. And I think
Yeah.
it drifts off into other areas for different seasons and things like that, like mini movies almost.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
like so, and I've spoken to some young kids about it, and they've just like, One Piece is the best thing
Okay.
ever.
Yeah. I'll have to see if I can find it wherever it's streaming.
Oh,
But
I'm 99% sure you'll find it on one of the. It'll be definitely on a streaming
on one of the
platform.
things, yeah.
I don't.
But no,
Netflix must have it. If they've got the movie, then they'd have to have it, the
well, the
cartoon.
TV series, please.
But if they've paid to do it, like
Yeah,
they would have
They
brought
would
all
have
the
something
back
to.
catalog.
Cool, I'll check it out. But you know, I'm actually really enjoying it, and it's one that I have to watch when after Vinny and I've watched a true crime. I've rubbed his ear, he's passed out on my lap, and then I can change the channel.
Oh, it wouldn't be Vinny's cup of tea at all.
No, not at all. So the other show that I wanted to talk about is called The Devil's Plan, and it's a Netflix TV series that's just come out, and it's Korean, and it's a game show. So you may remember I was talking about that Physical 100
Yes.
episodes ago, and it was
Yes.
Korean as well. So it's all dubbed, as in like they have the English voiceovers. While the Physical 100 was completely based on physical aesthetic and people being strong as fuck, this one is more about mind and being smart and shit like that. So all these people, the contenders, are incredibly smart. There's 12 of them, but they have to do a challenge each time, and you get tokens. If you have no tokens, you're eliminated from the game, so on and so forth. And no one's been eliminated yet, and I think I'm up to episode 3.
Mm.
Um, but so it's got the
No one's
survival.
eliminated yet.
Yes, they will be though. But it's kind of like, you know how I love Survivor challenges and all that stuff. I tell you what, though, fucking the challenges they have in this, they will explain the rules for about 5 minutes, and all the contestants are sitting there going, "Yep, yep, and I'm like lost after rule 3. I'm like, what the fuck are they meant to do? For example, they had this one challenge that was a board game, and you had to go from start to finish. And if you finished first, you got so many tokens. If you came the last 3, you lost tokens. There was a jail, and all it involved was rolling a dice. You had to move the certain amount of spaces to roll the dice. There was a locked in jail side of the dice, escape out of jail side of a dice. But then they started bringing in the rules. So each contestant, there's 12 of them, could make up their own personal rule, but they had to make up their personal rule using 7 of the colored blocks. They could only use 1 of each color. They had to have an action and a consequence. They couldn't use the same of the colors. They couldn't use the same words. It couldn't contradict itself. And then there was a group rule as well. If they land on an office space, where they could choose from these group tokens what the rule would be. And then they had an hour to come up with their rule. And the strategy these people had with coming up with what their rules were going to be were just fucking mind blowing. Like, it was incredible, the shit they were thinking of.
Wow.
And like I said, I was lost after the first explanation of 2 minutes of the rules. I'm loving it. Vinny does not love it.
I
But
don't think
anyone,
I would love it, but I appreciate your enthusiasm.
it's just very clever, and it's just amazing to see how these minds work. So the very first challenge was like, so everyone in the group got assigned a role. 6 were citizens, 2 were terrorists, 1 was a researcher, 1 was this, 1 was that. The terrorist infected someone with the virus, and then the virus would spread and all this shit. And
Zombie apocalypse plus.
the shit that they were just coming up with, this one guy, I think is, what's his name, Otto or something, Origin or something like that, would come up with, okay, if we do this, this, and this. I'm like, where the fuck do you think this? And it's actually like brilliant, the shit they're coming up with, but just like off the top of their head. So anyone who's looking for a new Netflix reality show, give The Devil's Plan a go, please. Speaking of one more quickly, have you seen, Squid Game?
The new one's out, or about to come out.
Well, no, what's about to come out is Squid Game, the reality competition, where it's actually based on Squid Game and everyone is real people in it. Obviously, you won't die, but I think it's doing the challenges from Squid Game. It's alleged. But they're doing the things from Squid Game. It comes out in November. I cannot wait to watch that.
I did see something come up on one of my feeds saying something about the new Squid Games. I didn't realize that was what was,
Yeah. And they think they can win up to $3.5 million and shit like that. Yeah. So I think what I'm guessing that everyone who's competing has had to put in their money to be the prize pool. And when they're dead, they obviously lose their money and go. And their money falls into the pot. Yeah, when they're dead. You haven't seen Squid Game yet, have you?
No, I
It's
don't
actually
really
pretty
think
good.
it's my thing. Lola tried to get me to watch it. I think Link tried to get me to watch it too, and Amanda tried to get me to watch it. But
So anyway, that's my TV corner. How's your week been?
well, while we're talking about TV, I'll just mention that we have started the Shameless journey, US
Oh,
version, not UK. I know Vinny's going to be really disappointed with me about that because he says the UK one's 1,000 times better. We're pretty much back to back in the last 2 weeks. We're up to season 4, and they're long
oh wow,
seasons too,
yeah.
hour episodes. But it goes for 11 seasons in total until it ended, and I think I got up to season 7
Yeah, I was going to say, I
before I
thought,
gave it away.
was that the UK one or the US one?
The US one. So
I
I'm
thought
doing it
you'd done
again.
Yeah, I thought you'd done it before.
But I haven't finished it. So,
Yeah.
but I'm already starting to get a little bit bored. The first few seasons are amazing. Like, it's full on, but it gets slow at times. And I need something to keep me, especially when you're binging.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Especially like Tyler loves a long season. Like, he's got so much commitment to a long season. It's insane. Whereas if I start to lose interest, I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, he'll be like, let's watch. I'm like, oh, can we watch something else, or can we put a movie? He's like, but you always do this. You can never see a season through.
Yeah.
Except when I rewatch Gilmore
If the 30-minute
Girls.
episodes of a long season, that's kind of okay.
Yeah. But how's my week been? Okay, so a couple of things I want to talk about. Oh, okay. So Tyler's going back to school. He has
Ah,
become a uni student. He just
is it
applied
uni?
yesterday. Yes, yes. So he's doing sports management. I'm very proud of him.
What uni?
Um, so he's Torrens University.
Good on him.
Yeah, yeah. So online.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
That's the
he's
way these days.
doing sports management, which I think is going to open a lot of doors for him because he's such a sporty person. He's so into his sports.
What is it? Is it a diploma?
So it's a diploma right now, 2-year
Yeah,
diploma.
yeah.
And then after that, he'll consider. So he's studied quite a bit since we've been together. So we've been together nearly 5 years now. And during that time, he's studied quite a lot because he did his traineeship for,
Yes.
you know, allied support, which is helping people, you know, who can't sort of help themselves, you know, who need care, whether it's because of a disability or whether it's because of mental health or because they don't have a family network around them and they're, you know, under 18 and stuff like that. So he studied and did that. And then they were going to pay so both times because there was a need for on the Central Coast, and I think Queensland does this as well. The allied support certificate that he did in the first instance was completely funded by the government, and he worked and he got a traineeship wage for about a year, but then he came out with a qualification. Then they wanted to pay for him to do the Cert 4. So he went and did the Cert 4 and didn't love it, but persevered. And there was a few times he was going to drop out, but he didn't.
It's to get the qualification. Good on
Yeah,
him.
and he's so glad that he did because it meant that he could go straight into uni courses and not have to do any fillers because he only went to year 11 at school.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he didn't finish grade 12. So the Cert 4 immediately represents a senior level of education.
Yeah.
So he's been able to go straight into uni students. So I'm very proud of him. It's a massive
Good job,
achievement.
Tyler. Has he started yet, or is he
Yeah, so
still?
it was 2 weeks late into the course
Yeah.
when he decided he was interested and started researching it, and then the uni said over the whole 2-year degree they'd give him like a $3,000 or $4,000 discount if he
Oh wow.
committed and did this semester and
Yeah.
started now. If he started, his option was to start again in February from fresh, but they would be able to give him the discount. So he had 2 weeks to catch up, and he's pretty much spent the last 2 days and he's completely caught up.
Wow. Good on him.
So it's
So
going to
it's
be at
not
least
even
10
a
hours a week.
go at your own pace thing. It's like you have to start at this point. You have to finish at this point.
He has assessments at regular
Yeah.
times. He
Does
has
he
to
have
do
classes
certain
or
hours.
anything?
Online classes,
But
online
still, he's got to
lectures.
attend.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh no, well he can watch the lectures at his pace, but there'll be assessments throughout. So if he hasn't watched the lectures,
He can't do the.
he
Yeah.
won't be able to, you know,
Oh,
fulfill the
good on him.
requirements for the assessment pieces. Yeah, I know. So
Fantastic.
it's really amazing. I'm really super, super proud of him. So the other thing I want to talk about was we last weekend we had, you know, we never have this, but we had a whole weekend just for us where we had no plans,
How
no
nice is that?
commitments, nothing to do, which never happens.
Yeah.
And we went down to the shops on Saturday and we were like, you know, what our default is just drinking and getting drunk on those weekends, just the two of us, and playing cards and watching TV. And
Love
then we
that for
walked
you.
past the games shop at Capalaba and I was like, let's go in. Let's go in and have a look at some games because we have a couple of, you know, regular games that we play. We play a lot of cards and we play Rummy. Rummy's our favorite. But we've been doing it for years now. Do you know what I mean? Like you get over the same games, like you still love them, but
your
so we went
strategy
in.
builds up.
Yeah, and you know each other's moves and stuff like that. Anyway, so we went into this game shop and this young guy, we walked around for a little while looking at all the games and we had no clue because it was all quite foreign to us. We were like, what are these games?
And there's so many games out there and so many convoluted games too now, isn't there?
Totally. And so we basically just went up to this young guy who was there in the shop, it was running the shop, and we were just like, look, we just want something that we can compete against each other with, have a few drinks, something casual. We like something competitive. You know, can you give us some suggestions? And this guy's face just lit up. He was like, tell me everything about what games you currently play. And we were like, Rummy.
I'm a subject matter expert.
Cards. We like listed a few, and he was like, right, okay, this, and just pretty much took us to all these different games and explained to us, this is strategy, this is complex, you know, this is this is that. And then we end up buying 4 games.
Oh, good on you.
4 new board games.
That'll keep you busy for a while.
I know, because we're going away this weekend, so we'll take those with us. But we played exploding unicorn. Oh no, is it exploding unicorns? No, it's something else. Something unicorns.
Yeah,
Unstable unicorns. That's what it is.
unstable.
And it's really quite good, very cleverly made. But it's got options. So we had to play the 2-player options, but if there's a whole bunch of cards that you have to exclude when you're playing the 2-player options
Yeah,
because they don't work.
it wouldn't work. Yeah,
So the version with the additional cards, I think, would be even more well done. And it's not
yeah,
it's not like a Cards of Humanity, whereas once you've done them once or twice, the shock value's gone and you sort of can't. It's got that level of strategy in it
yeah.
and how you fuck each other up, that it's always going to be different.
Excellent.
Yeah, so it was really cool. And then we got another one
So what
called.
happened? What is it like?
It's a little bit like. Did you ever play the weed card game? Remember when we went to
Yes.
Kingscliff
Yeah,
that
yeah,
year and we
yeah. We
played
played
weed?
weed. Yeah.
Tyler and I love that game. We play it all the
Yeah,
time.
me too. Yeah.
So it's a little bit similar to that in terms of you've got, you know how you in weed you've got the garden in front of you.
Yep.
So you've got a stable in front of you. So you've got unicorns, but and every card has, like, remember in weed, you've got Potzilla and it'll clean
Yeah.
everyone's
Swap
pot plants
everyone.
out.
Yeah.
Yes. Or you've got the hippie and it'll smoke your plants and stuff like that. But you don't get to keep it. So if you smoke someone's plants, it goes into the off pile and stuff like that. Similar to that, but a lot more complex. Like, we played a couple of rounds, and the first round we were just like, what the fuck's happening? Like, we were quite confused. And I remember when we first played weed as well, we were all like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
It's the stuff you got to persevere with. Play it a few
Yes.
times, and yeah.
So once we got into it, we were like, this is actually quite cool. And we played this other one called Carsane, I think it is, where you're building, and it sounds a bit weird, like it sounds a bit more complicated than it is, but you're building sort of towns around certain different, like they're all little tiny tiles that you play. And then you've got to try to get the most building things around the towns. Also super cool, like really
Yeah.
cool, and
Oh,
quite
excellent.
quick to just get through and be like, haha, I won. I built the most towns. Haha.
I could
I won
totally
that
see
one.
you doing that. I was just gonna say, I could see you doing ha
Yeah, so it was really cool. And I'm really excited because this weekend we're going away. So we're going to take all our new games with us and just be like,
Cool. Yeah, I've got a couple of games here still that we still haven't opened. And Vinny bought me a game once, and we played it when we had the power outage and the floods of West End last February, I think it was. You know, when we had to postpone the
yes, yes, you
podcasting
had
and
no
all that.
electricity.
And they were fun, and I want to actually start bringing them into it again. I'm just got to get Vinny enthused.
Like, we don't spend the whole night playing games. Like, we'll just have a couple of rounds and then we'll probably watch a movie or we'll watch YouTube videos or do whatever we do. But
Yeah,
it's nice to, not just go, oh, what are we going to watch? Or, oh,
yeah. What do we
what
do
songs are we
here?
going to put on?
Have a bit of competition. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. But we'll definitely go back to that game shop. Like, there was so many he recommended for us that we were like, shit. We spent like $150 on games.
Yeah, yeah. They're
And
not cheap these days.
yeah, but that got us 4 games.
That's good.
So then we were like, oh, we'll have to come back and pick up some of the other
Cool.
recommendations that he had.
Excellent.
I've always wanted to do Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, me too.
But you
Especially
need a
after
group.
Stranger Things, and it goes for a
Yes.
while.
Yes.
The
And you need
campaigns.
a leader as well. So I brought the starter pack of Dungeons and Dragons when I first moved to the Central Coast, but no one would ever play it with me. And you need a couple of people, like you need probably a minimum 3 or 4 people to start it off.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of game that you continue where you left off as well.
Exactly.
So I never really got to do it. And when I was chucking all things out when I was crossing the border and coming back to Brisbane, it was one of the things that just got chucked because I was like, I've never
had
played it.
anything.
In
Yeah.
the 5 years I've lived here, it's going to, Vinny's. So there was like a whole wall just dedicated to versions of Dungeons and Dragons. I was like, oh my God, I'm desperate to do it, but I need a group of people who want to commit with me.
Have you that'd be a good I was going to say it'd be a good podcast group thing to do. Have a podcast each time and have everyone keep playing. Have you ever, that TV show Traders? There was a second season just ended on Channel 10. That's based off a online game called Mafia and Werewolf. And it's very similar to that game I was telling you about in The Devil's Plan, where there was terrorists and whatnot. But they've made it into board games as well. I think there's Werewolf Mafia, whatever, where people get assigned a role, and if you're in the mafia, you have to kill off people. And each round, there's a thing where the mafia will kill off someone, and then the next round is where the civilians try to find out who the mafia is by killing somebody, and then that person has to reveal who they are or not. So the mafia kills and the people kill, and the
That sounds
objective is
cool.
the objective of the game is for the mafia to obviously stay alive, or the werewolf to stay alive, and or the civilians to win
So
as
is
it
it
keeps going.
online?
No, they've made it into a board game now as well. So I think that would be
Oh.
fun, but that'd be something that you'd need at least
What's it
6.
called again?
Mafia or werewolf.
Hmm.
But the TV show Traders is based on that. It's really cool. But that's something where you'd need 6, 7 people to play.
I know.
And then there's other roles in the civilians where they could be a seer or something where they can ask someone what their role is secretly, and they have to reveal what their role is and stuff. It's very cool.
So maybe next time when we hang out, instead of going, let's just go get drunk at a pub, we should get drunk at each other's house, start a board game, and then obviously
Totally.
the drunker we get, the harder it's going to be to maintain
Yeah.
that. But if
And
we
we can
start it off when we're just on the beers without
have
the
a few drinks,
shots,
play a
you know.
game, and then continue on. Yeah, I agree. That'd be fun.
But yeah, that's it from me. Are we gonna
Let's get
delve
into the Disney.
Let's get into Disney, shall we? All right, let me just. Okay.
All
Are
right.
we
So
ready?
what do you have about this Walt Disney Plus? What a cool name, though, really, isn't it?
It is a fucking insanely cool name. I'm glad that you said that because I haven't really talked about that through my notes. And it is like the absolute coolest. Like, you know, I guess because Disney to us means so much. I think if
Of
you had met
course.
him before Disney, maybe it wouldn't be like whatever. But it
Be
is an
like,
amazing name.
yeah, like Walt Criker. You'd be like, oh yeah, cool name.
So the history of Walt Disney, so the history of Walt Disney, this is going to be a hard one to do justice to, as there is just so much information about him. What an amazing life he lived. I pretty much went to the hairdressers last night and sat there for 3 hours and read about 20 articles about him plus his whole Wikipedia page from beginning to end. And I was like, whoa, when I finished, I was like, where do I even fucking start? So I know I'm not going to do it justice because I tried to keep it short, and because I really didn't have a lot of time to put it all in. It would have just went forever. I feel like, I feel like when it's the same as when I did what's his name? What was the assassination guy that I did?
Oh, JFK.
JFK, I bit off way more than I can chew when I started doing like the Walt Disney. But I got really bored with JFK, whereas I didn't get bored at all with Walt Disney. I was just like, wow, wow, wow. So as I said, this is a topic that I did not expect to love researching as much as I did. I can see why he is proclaimed to be one of the most influential figures of the 20th century. What a pioneer he was. I'm also surprised about how early color cartoons were made. 1930, actually.
Oh wow.
So I was like, when I was sort of going through it all, I was like, what? They had color cartoons in 1930? So then I went to a segue. Color TV didn't actually come out until 1954 in the USA. And you're not going to believe this, but Australia didn't get color TV until 1962.
Wow.
That's when they started sort of coming in. The Americans started coming into Australia in 1962. So that's when they started trying to sell it to Aussies. But I don't think it really came into effect until 63, 64, even for Australians. So, like, more than 10 years later, after the US got colour, we got
got
colour.
it. So
Isn't that crazy?
So obviously the movie, when you go to a movie theater, they had the color. When he was showing his movies, it was color, but then
No, well, I'm talking about color picture in general. Like when things turned into color. Actually, no, maybe I'm not. Maybe color TV. Okay, I'm gonna have to research this. It's so smart. I just went with TV, but of course, TV was different to actual motion. Okay, color motion pictures were introduced around 1940, but only came into wide use for commercial motion pictures productions in the early 1950s. It was Kodak. In the US, Eastman Kodaks. There you go. Oh, look at that. Anyway, I thought it was very interesting that Australia took over 10 years before they got to colour
Yeah.
TV. I
Well,
was like,
look, that's not surprising. We used to take 10 years to get a TV
mm,
series from fucking the US over
come
here.
on, Aussie, come on.
Uh,
Come
yeah,
on.
man.
Come on, Aussie, come on. Okay, so let's get back to it.
Yeah.
Walter Elias Disney was an
Oh,
American animator, film producer, and entrepreneur born December 5th, 1901.
Jesus.
Super fucking old, right?
Yeah, yeah. And no, I didn't know him. No, we weren't born in the same hospital.
You sure? You sure? You sure? Sure?
But Walter Elias Disney, short for WAD. No,
What do you mean? Walter
abbreviated
Elias
to
Disney
WAD.
was his whole name. Walt
Yeah, no,
Disney.
yeah. So that
Ovs. Ovs.
I meant abbreviated to WAD.
No, wed.
Oh, E. I'm thinking Elias with an
Oh
A.
my god, you fucking dummy. And I actually really love watching pictures of him and like clips of him. Like I think he's quite good looking. Do you think he's quite attractive looking?
Look, I mean, I probably wouldn't tap it in
I'd
this day
absolutely
and
tap it.
age.
I'd absolutely tap it, is what I'm saying. That's where I was going there. Anyway, he was super old, but was a pioneer of the American animation industry. He introduced several developments into the production of cartoons. As a film producer, he he holds the record for most Academy Awards earned and nominations by an individual. He was presented with 2 Golden Globe
Yes.
Special Achievement Awards and an Emmy Award, among other honors. So many honors. So many things that he did were like no one else was doing them. And he just started them and was like, nah, I don't want to do it that way. I'm going to do it this way. Like, this is how we're going to do it. And then everyone was like, your idea is really stupid. We're not going to like pay for it. And then he just went, fuck it. I'll figure out a way to fund it myself. And he did. He always just got people lining up to go, yeah, we'll try this. Yeah, we'll try this. And it just like evolved from thing to
Yeah.
thing to thing.
And he created a fucking empire.
Oh, like, I think empire's like, I feel like that's not even the word for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just
a dynasty.
Yeah, it's just like he changed the world. He died in 1966, age 65, from emphysema-related complications. Had 2 kids. One was adopted. Sorry, my computer's not working properly. I need to get down to my notes. And his daughter, his firstborn daughter, so they adopted a child later on, a couple of years later, but the eldest daughter was the one who ended up taking on a lot of his legacy with her son. And they, went on to do lots of other things in his name, after his passing. So he was born in Chicago in 1901. And developed an early interest in drawing. He took art classes as a boy and got a job as a commercial illustrator at the age of 18. He moved to California in the 1920s and set up the Disney Brothers Studio.
Disney
now,
Brothers.
The Walt Disney Company.
Oh.
With his brother Roy. With UBI Works, he developed the character Mickey Mouse.
I was going to say Minnie came first.
In 1928, his first highly popular success. They owned another character too, but they were working under a different heading of a business, and that business guy decided to steal that character. Will take it. It was like, you work for me, it's my character, and it never had any success. Well, it did initially, but Mickey Mouse took over.
Steamboat Willie.
He's what?
Steamboat Willie.
Steamboat Willie. I know.
Nicky's thing? Yeah.
You're gonna be shocked when you hear some of the years that some of the original stuff came out to. I was just blown away. So with UBI Works, he developed the character Mickey Mouse in 1928, his first highly popular success. He also provided the voice for his creation in the early years. As the studio grew, he became more adventurous, including synchronized sound, full color 3-strip Technicolor, feature-length cartoons, and technical developments in cameras. The results seen in features such as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, 1937.
Yeah.
And have you seen the picture where he's there and he's like advertising the snow, and they're all there in front, and it's like, so it's him in live action, and then the cartoons pop up.
Cool.
Have you
No,
never
I
seen that
haven't.
before?
No.
Oh, it's awesome. Pinocchio, Fantasia, both in 1940. Dumbo 1941, Bambi 1942. This is
Wow.
when all those really old original ones came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Furthered the development of animated film. New
And it
animated.
wasn't all computer generated at all.
No, it was just by that cell. Well, it started as a cell generation, and then he evolved it. There's look, the complexity of what he did to get it into the way that it turned out. I would bore you with all the technical
Yeah.
language. Like I was
We
just
wouldn't
like,
know what you're talking about.
no, and
Yeah.
I didn't understand a lot of it either. But I was like it was like, you know, one year he said we're not going to do it this way, we're going to do it this way. The next year he said no, now we're going to add this bit on, and then the next year add this bit on, and like it just developed and developed. And I mean, you can see it in the fact, like if you look at, you know, what is it, Steamboat Mickey? Is that what
Willie.
it's called? Steamboat Willie. You can see how basic that was compared to how those films came out. Like if you look at Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the really old version, and how it kept going on, like he just built on it and built on it.
Yeah.
So new animated and live action films followed after World War II, including the critically successful Cinderella in 1950, Sleeping Beauty in 1959, and Mary Poppins in 1964 plus.
The 5.
The last of which received 5 Academy Awards.
Sister Suffragette.
Still can't remember seeing it. Like I've seen it as a kid, but I can't remember the Sister Suffragette bit. In the 1950s, Disney expanded into the amusement park industry. And in July 1955, he opened Disneyland in, is it Anaheim? Anaheim, California.
Yeah.
To fund the project, he diversified into television programs. Television programs such as Walt Disney's Disneyland and the Mickey Mouse Club.
Yes.
That's where Ryan Gosling got his start, plus.
Also Britney Spears,
Also
Christina Aguilera, and fucking I'm bringing sexy back, Justin Timberlake.
So many.
They were all in the club together at the
but
same
not
time.
This version, not the 1950s version.
No, but you know who was in that one? Annette Funicelli. Is that?
I don't know.
Yeah, Annette Funicelli. Do you know who she is? Do you remember those old movies back in the day? I used to watch them a lot, especially in school holidays, and it'd be like the Beach Club and the Beach Party.
With the brown hair, the little brown head Bob.
Yes.
Yes.
And her boyfriend that was in it too, Annette Funicello. Yeah.
Right. So where am I? He was also involved in planning the 1959 Moscow Fair, the 1960 Winter Olympics, and the 1964 New York World's Fair. In 1965, he began development of another theme park, Disney World, the heart of which was to be a new type of city, the experimental prototype community of tomorrow. What does that stand for, please?
Epcot.
Yes, so clever. Disney was a heavy smoker throughout his life and died of lung cancer in December 1966 before either the park or the Epcot project were completed.
Oh, really? So I didn't see Disney World in completion.
It's so crazy that he didn't actually get to see it. He'd be so proud of how
it's gone now.
I know. So he did Disneyland first. Let me see. Yes. When did Disneyland come out? So he was there for Disneyland.
And apparently when 55. It first opened, it was a complete shit show.
Oh, was it?
Apparently some of the rides didn't work. There was overcrowding and all
this 1955 stuff. Plus.
You still sort your shit out.
Don't you talk shit about my Disney, my Walt. But he didn't get to see Disney World or Epcot. And when he tried to envision how Disney World was going to be, it was because he had been involved in the Moscow Fair and the Winter Olympics. And he wanted to just be like streets and streets of, you know, like just this whole livelihood that's centered around imagination and
I love that.
The future and you know, technology and like
imagine having that much money where you could actually think, okay, this is what I want. Yes. This is how I want it to be.
But he got people to back him. Like he didn't have the cash himself. Like he was wealthy. Of course, he was wealthy in his own right. But a lot of people paid for him to do the stuff that he did as well.
Yeah.
So he would have been super rich by today's standards, but it wasn't like he was pulling it out of his own pocket.
Yeah.
He had
It was
other people
investors and
coming in.
sales.
Yeah, and he could convince them to do anything, and he would have people lining up to go, here, just take it, take it, take
Yeah.
it, take it, take it, take
It
it.
sounds like that guy from fucking Fire Island, but he actually delivered
Oh, the
the
two
Fire Festival. Sorry.
Fire Festival. I was like, oh, I knew what you were talking about. So, believe it or not, Disney was a shy, self depreciating, and insecure man in private, but adopted a warm and outgoing public persona. He had high standards and high expectations of those with whom he worked. Sounds like me. Although there have been many accusations that he was a racist or anti Semitic, they have been contradicted by people who knew him. Historiography. The historiography of Disney has taken a variety of perspectives, ranging from views of him as a purveyor of homely patriotic values to being a representative of American imperialism. Widely considered to be one of the most influential figures of the 20th century. That's according to Wikipedia, and Wikipedia don't lie, bitch.
No. Purely factual.
Disney remains an important presence in the history of animation and in the cultural history of the United States, where he is acknowledged as a national cultural icon. His film work continues to be shown and adapted. The Disney theme parks have grown in size and number to attract visitors in several countries, and his company has grown to be one of the world's largest mass media and entertainment conglomerates.
Well, it's true, because I mean, look at all the Disneylands that have appeared internationally now. There's talk about one appearing in Australia. Have you seen about that?
I have not. Is it
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. So there's been talk about it. And I
Could
thought,
we pull it off though?
well, I mean, like Tokyo, I think there's one in China. There's one in Europe, obviously, in France. But yeah, there's talk of one in Australia, and there was like, who's the big people going for it? And I thought, well, obviously it's got to be down the Gold Coast somewhere with the other, but no, it's either going to be in Adelaide or Melbourne.
Well, I was going to say the Gold Coast is just overrun with theme parks. It's too many. It's too many. Go somewhere else.
Yeah, so either Adelaide or Melbourne apparently are the two contenders for it.
But I have to say, I went to Disneyland in Paris, and when I decided to go on my European adventure that I went for your wedding, when you
You're welcome.
Did your nuptials with your husband many moons ago. I did it purely because Link was about 7 at the time, and I thought it was something that we had no plans to go to the US, and I thought it's something that a kid should experience. And we went to Paris Disneyland, and it was an insane experience. Like, I did not expect to be completely just over
transported
the
into
emotions. Yeah. And I remember walking in being like, I'm not a massive Mickey Mouse fan. There's certain Disney movies that I like, but I would never say, oh my God, Disney's my thing. But I walked in and was like, I need a shirt, I need a hat, I need to watch every single show, every restaurant on the outside. So you go into the Disney park, and that's one thing, but you come outside and they've got the whole Disney world outside, where every restaurant conforms to the Disney ideals. And it was honestly, and this is the Paris version, not the actual original versions, it was magical. It was insanely magical. I had the most amazing time.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know, I think especially when your kid's in Australia and you're growing up and you're watching Disney and you hear of Disneyland, but this was never going to be an option for our families. Unless you won a prize or a lotto or whatever.
Yeah, or your parents were super rich.
Yeah, and,
which ours weren't.
No, and then you're watching every Sunday night the Magical World of Disney and all this stuff. So it was all this Disney, and to finally actually get there. And I think even Vinny, when we went to the one in Anaheim, for him it was still quite special as well.
Do you remember like when you were at school though, in primary school, where some kid was going?
There was always
and
one
it was
or two
like
kids.
a huge event, like that kid going was like, there was a build up even. You were like, this kid's going to Disneyland later on this year. Like, oh my God. And you were just like totally in awe, like, how do you get to go? Like, and then they'd come back and they'd be like, yo, it was so fucking awesome. And you'd be like, oh my God.
And they were like the cool kid for 6 months just based on that. Affluent.
This time when I was at Disney.
Yeah.
Do you want to see my photos?
No, fuck off.
Okay, let's go over to the controversies, shall we?
All right, we'll do some controversies. So,
Controversies.
all right, so as we were talking about some of Walt's controversies, I'll start with some of those. So,
I'll be able to pose a rebuttal in most of
totally,
these, I
totally.
think.
So there was, and I think a lot of these too is the same situations where a lot of people get caught up in shit they did in the past when things in the past were acceptable or weren't
Exactly, yes.
considered
A
as
level
a
of, not seeing things from other people's perspective, but
mm,
being like not knowing that they were doing something wrong at the time and then realizing after, oh shit, maybe
I
I did
now
do something wrong.
understand.
And then
Exactly.
retracting, what they did and going, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Like
do
me
that.
paying out on gay people when I was younger, knowing that I was gay and stuff like that. Like there's that whole shit. And look, and I think in most cases, everyone is a um
Is guilty of it.
guilty of it. Exactly.
Especially people of our generation.
And especially people of our parents' generation,
A
more
hundred
so.
percent our parents' generation.
And that's all based down to society's values, what you're taught, what's impressed on you, what you think you're doing is right, or what is just accepted at the time. So, Walt Disney was anti Semitic. This is the
Mm.
controversy. There's the famous Three Little Pigs little movie that he did. I don't even remember
Yes,
that.
yes,
There's a
yes.
scene
No,
in
no.
which the wolf was portrayed as a Jewish peddler. It's now been reanimated since. And there is the fact that in 1938, a month after Nacht, which is German for Night of Crystal.
Yes, yes. I know about this one.
Do you know? Yeah, so the occasion of concerted violence by Nazis throughout Germany and
Hmm.
Austria against Jewish people. So
It was war propaganda.
a month after that, Disney personally welcomed Nazi director Leni Riefenstahl to his
Yes.
studios. So there's all of this shit that's going on.
Are you going to go on
There's
about that bit? Because I know some more about that as well.
okay, so I can say no, that's pretty much all about that.
So he did welcome her the first time, and then the second time he turned her away. He told her not to come back again after he
Mm,
realized. He said that he didn't know, and then afterwards she was no longer welcome.
fantastic. I
When
love
he
that.
found, yeah, he did, and he claimed because he got in like heaps of trouble over it, I think at the time, and he came out and was like, I had no idea. She seemed like a nice lady. And she, have you seen the photo of her? She's like this young, really quite attractive young woman, like a little cutie. And he was just like, come and have a tour. And then he found out afterwards what she was involved in, and then he was like, no, you can
See
never
you later.
come back.
And she was also probably a victim of circumstance as well.
Absolutely, 100%.
There's a charge that he was racist, which I'll sort of go into in some of the
Mm-hmm.
movies. There's also the charge that he was sexist. So some of
Yes.
his associates thought Walt didn't particularly like women. Apparently, he didn't trust women or cats. I still know men today that do not trust women or cats.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Apparently, he may have been an FBI informant.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
So apparently, he was deemed by the New York Times, um, but he's denied the reports that he was a FBI informant. They're not giving much information on that.
It's
He
funny though
definitely
because it
did not
like
like communists, though. But
you could only really know the version of people's events because they've all passed now. So it's
yeah,
really based on what was said at the time. Like there's no one to really corroborate it and
yeah.
say this is actually what happened. It's really based on what's written in history, which is so funny, isn't it? Because what's written in history stands, doesn't it? Like,
Look at the Bible, for fuck's sake.
yeah.
The Bible is the most worshipped book in the world. And where's the actual evidence that this happened or wasn't manipulated by
Mm.
people in the journey to where it got to today?
Well, I know one thing about his anti-Semitic stuff. His daughter, his youngest daughter, the adopted daughter, um, she was engaged to a Jewish person, and apparently the elder daughter came out saying when he found out that they were engaged, he was like, "Oh my God, that family's going to treat you so well. Like you
Oh,
were really
wow.
lucky to be part of a huge family, a huge loving family."
Do you know why
And
he adopted her?
no, I don't. I have a feeling that maybe they had some, reproductive issues, or maybe they just wanted to help people that couldn't look after their children and just
Mm.
wanted to adopt for that reason. I don't know what the specific reason was. I believe she was quite small though. She was like a baby or very small when they
When they
adopted her.
adopted her. Bless. Okay, so and speaking of the parks too, because I don't have this in my notes. Do you know? Apparently, and I think it's a rumor. I don't know if it's real or not. His office was in the Sleeping Beauty castle, or just above the Sleeping Beauty's castle
I
at
didn't know
Disneyland.
that.
Yeah,
He sounds
and if
like a
the
real
light
big
was
kid at
on,
heart as well.
oh, you have to be to have all that. Yeah. Okay, so touching back on the racism, a few Disney movies now come with warnings before you watch them.
Oh, I didn't
One,
know that.
a lot of the older ones. So one that you can't watch now, however, is called Song in the South, Song of the South.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of this movie? Do you know
I've
this
seen the
movie?
title in my research.
It's a real person animation mix movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's that song in it, zippity doo dah, zippity
Zippity
a.
day.
That's where that came from.
My, oh my,
My,
what a
what a
wonderful
wonderful
day.
day. So the film has been widely criticized for its racist portrayal of African Americans in a post-slavery era
Mm.
and its romanticization of the antebellum South. Do you know what antebellum means?
Well, Antebellum was that band that we love that sings
Lady
that song.
antebellum, and
Yeah.
houses are antebellum. It means historical. Anyway, while the movie is set after the Civil War, a date is never actually specified in the movie, and it seems like it was still in a time of slavery with feelings
Right.
that is glorified in the time
Mm.
period. So it's like a kid goes off to live with spend time with his grandparents in a plantation. And as soon as you hear
Right.
plantation,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially in those days, and it supported the old movement. The movie contained racial slurs, and
Mm.
Disney has kept the film out of circulation for many years due to its racially insensitive content.
Well, good for them taking it out of the circuit.
Well, apparently, when the movie was made, they knew that there was going to be some issues with it. They were meant to have a
Right.
big meeting about it, discuss it. The meeting never happened, and the movie was released as is.
He was very you know, like I want to say stubborn. That's probably not the right word, but it was sort of his way or the highway.
Oh yeah, adamant about
Like this
yeah.
is how it's going to be portrayed, and I think he was quite confident in the fact that he thought it was the right thing or not the right, and he wasn't doing anything
It was the
wrong.
time. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think no one could ever really say to him, "You're not gonna do this. He's gonna do
He'd
it
do what he was
anyway."
going to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how we got his theme parks fucking built.
Mm.
Movies like Peter Pan and Dumbo also
Yes.
contain
Yes.
strong racial stereotypes and have been edited to remove those scenes. Do you know the scene in Dumbo? There was
Trying to
like
think. I know I
crows,
should know it. Yes, the Black
and I think
Crows.
they talk in Jamaican accents and they're like
Yes. Yes.
stoned and
Yes.
stuff like that. Apparently they were meant to originally be voiced by the Beatles, but the Beatles
Mm.
didn't agree to it because of the racial undertones.
Mm. But you know what I keep thinking though? Like you look at a show like Friends, and that's
Mm.
much more recent, and you think of all the things that happen in that show that are not politically correct to this
Especially
day.
towards the LGBT community. Yeah.
Totally towards the LGBT community,
But
but
that was the 90s. That was the time
that's
where,
exactly right. And we're talking, he died in 66. So most of his major productions were in the 10, 15 years before that, 20, 30 years even. So
yeah.
again, another, not trying to condone it
Oh, no,
or
no, I know. You're
make
making it
people feel
relevant.
like
Yeah.
I agree with like how people feel about it, because I know that that's really important. But yeah, definitely it was a different time.
It was a
Still
different time.
insensitive,
Mm.
but
And we've all learnt from that. And
yeah.
yeah. Um, Aladdin, the original release of Aladdin in 1992.
One of
Have you
my
seen that movie?
all-time favorite
Yeah, I
films.
love that too. Do you remember the very beginning where it's Robin Williams singing as the street merchant, but he's not the genie, he's the street merchant.
Yes.
And it sings, so they had to change a line in it. And at the time, like, I remember because I loved the movie, I was in grade 10. I mean, it was
Aladdin
my
was after he died, though.
totally. So it's a Disney thing.
Mm.
Um, that song Arabian Nights,
Mm.
Arabian Nights, There's a line in it where he goes, "Oh, I come from a land from a faraway place where the caravan camels roam, where they cut off your ear if they don't like your face. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home." They had to change that line because it just sort of
I
instigated
love
all.
that you know that song.
They instigated all Arabs were barbarians. You know what I mean? So
Yes, yes,
Pocahontas in
yes,
1995,
yes.
Disney faced backlash over its portrayal of the historical figure Pocahontas with accusations of cultural
Mm, mm.
insensitivity and inaccuracies in the story. Native American groups protested the film's release, which is fine because, again, they romanticized the whole thing about her and John Smith, and
Yes, and little girls loved it.
where Native American groups protested the film's release. The Lion King, 1994. So Disney, we're going off the track of racism now.
Of course.
So Disney faced allegations of plagiarism in 1994 with the release of Not the Lion King.
Oh, I
With
didn't know
some,
about that one.
I remember reading this, and I have never seen the original. What they're talking about, with some claiming that the story of the Lion King was based on the Japanese anime series Kimba the White Lion.
Oh, okay.
Disney denied the allegations. Some conspiracies with representation and diversity. So Disney has faced
Diversity
ongoing
would be a massive thing, but
huge, and especially
and then when it was a diverse, makeup of whatever the storyline was, it was represented in a not politically correct way.
yes, stereotypical, yeah. So Disney has faced ongoing criticism for its lack of diversity in its early animated films
Oh yeah.
and for perpetuating stereotypes in characters. The issue has led to discussions about the need for better representation in Disney's storytelling. And now they're copying flack for that over having a non-Caucasian play Ariel, the Little Mermaid, in the live-action remake of it.
Yeah, which is like why?
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
Like, people were just,
fuck.
she's a mermaid. Like, it's not like we know she's British or anything like that.
Yeah.
But now, speaking of the Little Mermaid, the original cartoon release in 1989, some critics argued that the original cover work of the VHS release of The Little Mermaid contained a phallic symbol
Oh,
in the
I love the
castle
picture of the
stars.
Little Mermaid on the video. Every time I saw it at the video store, I was like, I love that film so much.
I love The Little Mermaid too, but you know the castle behind it, there's one of the castle spires where it actually looks like it's a dong.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Wait till you see the picture though. Disney denied any intentional wrongdoing, but recalled the cover and released a modified version. And you can Google it. It's a stretch, but there's also weight behind it, if you know what I mean. I found the part. So now for the theme parks, some controversies. In 1964, a fatal accident occurred on the Matterhorn bobsled ride at Disneyland. 15-year-old boy stood up on the ride and was thrown from the vehicle, resulting in his death. The incident led to safety improvements in Disney's parks. One of the most tragic incidents involved a 2-year-old boy who was attacked and killed by an alligator at Disney World's Grand Floridian Resort and
What
Spa.
year was that?
2016.
No, I knew about that one. Okay, because that's why I needed. That's why I was like, I've heard about that one.
Why? And that's the incident prompted changes in signage and safety measures. Why do you have fucking alligators, live ones, in your theme park? In 2009, 2 monorail trains collided at Walt Disney World, resulting in the death of the pilot of a monorail. There is also
You called a pilot when you drive a monorail.
Yeah. There is also a long-standing myth that Walt Disney's body was cryogenically frozen after his death in '66. You've heard of that,
I've
obviously.
heard that one, obviously.
And it's secretly stored beneath Disneyland's Pirates of the Caribbean ride, apparently.
Look, if I had the money to cryovac my body. No, I want to be Bones. I want to be Bones. I want people to dig me. I want to be a skeleton. I want to be a skeleton where people are like, look at this skeleton. Let's make it talk.
But if you're dying of a disease and you thought you could freeze yourself and then bring it back and heal yourself. Maybe.
And he was massively into technology and, futures. He established Epcot, for fuck's sake.
But in reality, apparently he was cremated and his ashes were interred at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California.
Yes, I knew that.
So further to my spiel on the penis in the Little Mermaid cover, there's a conspiracy that Disney has been putting racy hidden images in a lot of its films. I must remember to include some of these in the promos because some of them are either strong coincidences or they were actually doing it. The Lion King
Intentional.
cover, the Lion King cover looks like a woman in a G banger from behind. Has been added to Mufasa's face in the cloud. The word sex is also spelt out in the clouds when he disappears. Same with the cover of Tangled, you know, the Rapunzel story. The word sex can be spelt out in her hair as it's wrapped around the guy.
No way.
There's imagery of Mickey and Minnie hugging, but the way it's drawn could be Mickey holding a dick and not Minnie's body.
Wowzers.
So that's the conspiracies.
Let's go on to our favorite films. Are we doing
And
films first
characters.
or characters?
Well, I've got characters listed in my first.
Okay, well, okay. My first one, my all-time favorite, is in Aladdin, the genie,
Oh, I love the
aka
genie.
Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Best Disney character of all time. It was my guilty pleasure movie in my late teens and my early 20s. I used to be able to recite the words and
Yep.
all the songs, and I would sit there and just watch. I can't even tell you how many times I've seen that film.
Could you imagine if we knew each other around that age and we were just sitting there watching fucking Aladdin?
I know. I loved it. I thought it was so hilarious. I used to laugh out loud.
Yeah,
I
me
loved
too.
Abu, Iago,
Yeah.
Raja.
Yeah.
I
Is that
loved
the
them
tiger?
all. Yeah, that was the tiger. That was Jasmine's
Oh,
tiger.
new
Yeah.
don't you dare close your eyes.
And Iago was Jafar's little parrot, remember?
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
Abu was the monkey. The monkey that
Yes,
used to
yeah.
argue with the genie all the
Abu?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Abu was Aladdin's little monkey that was always on his shoulder.
Yeah, bless him.
Yeah. But that is one of my all-time favorite characters.
Love that. Good choice. So as a child, my favorite character was always Donald Duck.
Oh,
I loved him.
okay.
And his nephews. I hated Scrooge. I also love Goofy and Pluto.
Yes.
Pluto,
I
I think
loved
more so than Goofy.
the Goofy movie is amazing.
I
Where
haven't
he's the
seen that.
dad and he's got the son. What's his son's name?
I
can't
haven't seen the
remember now.
movie because you would have seen that, I guess, with Link.
The Goofy movie, yeah, but it came out way before Link's time. I was a huge fan of that. I thought it was really cool. I really loved it. Not as humorous. I felt like Aladdin just made me laugh.
Yeah,
all
Aladdin
the
was
time.
great. Aladdin was excellent.
It's all time one of the best ones.
I saw that at the cinema with my then girlfriend, Melinda. That's Melinda with an M.
I can't believe we've never done actually the Disney music together. Like we haven't sat there and just like put Disney song after Disney song after Disney song.
Next time we've got now a theme. Do you know I had that on SingStar in London?
Yes, I know. We always talk. I think we tried to get it a few times and buy it for SingStar a few times in Australia, but we couldn't get it.
Oh, so good.
Oh, okay. So my next character is actually Anna from Frozen.
Okay.
Which like everyone loves Elsa. Boring.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you know, little girls all over just wearing that blue dress. I'm like Anna all the way. Do you want to build a snowman?
Do you want to build a snowman?
And you know who does her voice though, don't you?
Anna?
Yeah.
No.
Kristen Bell. Veronica Mars. How do you not know that? She was classically trained from a young age and she can sing like, you know.
Do you know, I have never seen Frozen from start to finish.
Have you not? Oh my God. If I had $1 for every time I've seen Frozen, it is ridiculous. Like I've seen it so many times.
I've seen it, like I've seen the whole movie, but I've seen like the beginning, the middle, and the end. Same with Sound of Music. I've never sat down and watched Sound of Music from start to finish.
Are you
I've just
joking?
seen chunks of it. No. What
Sound
is
of
it you
Music
can't
was
face?
one of my all-time favorite movies when I was probably about like 12. Oh, probably a little bit younger, but it's still one of my favorites. I could still watch it right now. I can't believe I haven't made Tyler watch it. He would hate it. He would actually hate it.
I think the whole army part of it just threw me off.
Oh, that's at the end though. It is. It's bad, but it made me actually think, oh my God, why do they have to move? I don't understand. What's going on? Like I didn't really understand anything about like
the
global
war,
politics.
Yeah, Nazis and all.
Well, I love that film. But anyway, let's continue. So yeah, I love Anna.
And you know who voices Elsa, don't
Do
you?
you want to build a snowman? Oh yeah, what's her face from Glee?
Adina
Yeah, I know.
Menzel.
Yeah,
And from Wicked.
I've watched Frozen a gazillion times. Like I know who's in it. Like I know all the songs. I know all the words to the songs. I had them on my playlist for yonks and yonks and yonks. That's how much I loved it. Link would be like, "What do you want to watch?" I'm like, Frozen. Let's put Frozen on.
We're watching it. Like, I have you seen Milan?
Mm, no, like I did see it, I think when I was younger, but I don't like. It's not up there with one of my favorites. Only because I haven't watched it a lot.
I loved Milan and I loved Mushu, which was the little dragon companion that was voiced by Eddie Murphy.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, Mushu was
okay.
hilarious. He was funny. It's kind of like Donkey from Shrek. And I'm Devo, they left him out of the live action remake, but I also have Genie from Aladdin was hilarious. Rest in peace, R
Yes,
dubs.
yes, I know. I love him. I love him. So is that all your favorite characters?
Yeah,
Because I've got one last one,
go.
which is Moana. Oh,
I've got that this mentioned later on in my notes that that's a movie that I could watch all the time.
it's such a great movie, and The Rock
Fantastic.
is so good in it. Like, there's the other one. What's the song that he sings?
Yeah, I
The
know.
Rock, Moana song.
But that was
Moana.
so clever, the whole thing with Mother Earth. And
Hang on, what is it?
have you seen the
I see what's happening here. You're face to face with greatness and its strains. You don't even know how you feel. It's adorable. Well, it's nice to see that humans never change. Open your eyes. Let's begin. Yes, it's really me. It's Maui. Breathe it in. I know it's a lot. The
what's the
hair,
song
the bod.
called?
When you're staring at a demigod, what
When
can
you
I say
say,
except you're
what can I
welcome?
say? You're welcome.
I love that song too.
I saw a YouTube clip of The Rock where he's got his young kids and they obviously don't comprehend what their dad is at the time, this huge movie star. And they were watching Moana and then he starts singing the demigod song and he's like, "You're welcome," rah, 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 in the loud voice while they're watching the movie and they're like looking at him like, what the fuck is happening here? Mind blown, realizing that their dad was the demigod.
Tyler went dressed to Mel's 40th
You're
that
welcome.
as what's his name again? Hang on, I just had it.
Maui, isn't it?
Maui, yeah.
Yeah.
So Tyler went dressed as Maui. We went and actually brought the costume from a costume shop. He looked
That's
so fucking good.
cool.
He
That's
had the
cool.
whole wig on. He had the grass skirt. He looked amazing.
But that's so funny that you have Moana because I have her down here. Moana, that's a good one. Could watch that a few more times too. And I do love
I
the
really want to
movie.
go and watch Aladdin now.
Yeah.
All right, so we're
Um,
going to do movies now.
favorite movie. So I absolutely loved the Little Mermaid cartoon. Loved
Yes,
it.
it's amazing.
I watched the live remake the other day. They do a great job. They do a great job.
How good is Melissa McCarthy amazing in it?
Fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, I love that chick. I fucking love her.
How good is that song? You poor unfortunate souls in pain,
Well, I haven't
in
seen
need.
it at all.
Have you not seen the cartoon version of Little
Oh
Mermaid?
yeah, but I can't really remember that song. I only
It's the
remember like the
octopus who
basic
sings it.
ones.
I love that. And
Oh.
wish I could be part of your world. You do not know it as well as I do.
No, I don't. So I spent a lot of time going through the list of movies, and it was really, really fucking hard
It's
to
a
pick
long one.
movies. It's
Yeah.
There's a lot. So, and I'm just going to throw this out there because I feel like it needs a
Ooh.
mention. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I thought you were going to say Mighty Ducks or something. I was going to go, you
No,
dumb bitch.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Like, come on. Do you remember when that
Great.
came
Yeah,
out?
I saw that at the cinema. I
Me
mean, I saw that at the
too.
drive-in.
I saw it at the cinema
I
too.
saw it at the drive-in, and I think it was with Batman at the same time, the original
Yeah,
Batman.
it could have been. That sounds familiar.
It was very cool,
Yeah, it
and it
was. And then
was
they
the
went on to
whole
do the three different versions. Honey, I blew up the
"Honey, I Blew Up
kids,
the
and then
Kid."
what did they do with the pets? The third one was about pets, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, you're right.
I
Yeah,
never saw the pet ones. I saw
neither
the blow up the
the kid.
kids.
Yeah, because I remember that was such a hype about it because it was a sequel, and it was the first time in history they got Las Vegas to shut all their lights down while the kid was walking down the street.
Yes,
Mama.
the
Yeah,
baby, the little redhead baby, wasn't
yeah, yeah. It was super cute.
it?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was great.
Yeah, it was
Where they
amazing. I
had
remember
and
us just loving it as a kids. We were just like, "This is the best thing ever."
it was also the effects that we'd never had before and stuff like that, where
Mhm.
everything was giant and
And our minds were completely blown. We were
yeah,
like,
because the
how are they
lawnmower was
even
going over.
doing this?
Yeah, and they're holding onto the blades of grass as the lawnmower was
I
sucking
wonder
them
if it
up. And
stands up. Like, I wonder if the special effects like actually are decent or just like really poor.
I reckon there'd be some poorness to it.
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah,
right.
because they were grabbing onto giant rubber blades of grass. Oh. But there was also the older kid in it too that you were like swoon when you were a
Yeah,
child.
totally,
So scary.
totally. And he really did nothing with his life in the end, didn't he? He didn't really go
I don't
anywhere.
think anyone but Rick Moranis did.
Yeah, yeah. I think the sister was. I think I can't remember who she was, but I think I want to say Elizabeth Shue. I don't think she was Elizabeth Shue, but she was
I don't think
someone.
it was.
It was someone.
1989, that was.
89. I was
Yeah.
9.
I was 12.
15, 20.
12, you dumb bitch. So Thomas Wilson Brown, that was the boy who played Russ.
Who was the sister?
Oh, he looks like a bit of a,
Roughage.
well, he looks like he's had heroin. Let's put it that way. I think the sister may have been Amy O'Neill. She's at the SAG on strike thing.
Okay.
She was in Shrunk, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Honey, I Blew Up the Kids, White Wolves, Desperate for Love, Attack of the 5'2". Yeah, no, she's never really gone anywhere.
There you go. All right, what's your next film?
Beauty and the Beast.
Oh,
And I fucking love this. And I remember Matt Teagan giving me so much shit because Celine Dion, this is when she introduced herself into my life. Tell us all this time. And I remember singing it, and Matt Deegan would just be like, "What the fuck are you into?" Because he's into Guns N' Roses. I'm into Celine Dion singing Beauty and the Beast.
what was Celine Dion's very original song?
The
The first.
power of love.
I was obsessed with
Me
that
too.
song. I
We
was
should have been born in the
completely.
same era, so we could have been in the same grade together. Just we've
I
gone
know. You mean
because it
you
was the
should have been
same
born in
year Hero
1980, so
came
you'd be
out by
younger.
fucking
Mariah Carey.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I was obsessed
Is
with
a
both of those.
hero.
Oh my god, Mariah Carey was at the
Look
top
into
of my thing.
your heart.
I remember having posters of Mariah Carey on my wall and pretending it's because I fancied her, but it was not. It's just because I love Music Box so bad.
I love Music Box so
Oh, what an
much.
album! What an album! Beauty and the Beast, loved it.
Okay, so my next one is only because I've watched it recently, and it was fucking next level good. Is Remember the Titans?
Oh
So
God,
the
you're going
live.
down the more different
I'm
path. I
trying
like
to. I'm
that.
trying to. So Remember the Titans has got Denzel Washington
Yes,
in
I saw that
it.
at the cinema with Matt Deegan.
Yes, and we watched it like, and Tyler had not
Is
seen it.
James Van Der Beek in it?
No, you're thinking of you're thinking of Friday Night Lights, the one that they made out of. It's Friday Night. I think it is Friday Night Lights.
Ryan Gosling's in it.
Yes, he's excellent in it. Excellent. And it's
Ah,
where so Denzel comes in.
Hayden's in it.
Yes, yes, there's so many amazing. And when we watched it, Tyler was like, I can't believe I've never seen this before. This is amazing.
I have seen it, and that guy Ethan Suplee, who,
Yes, the guy
yeah,
from My Name
my
is
name is
Earl,
Earl. Yeah,
among
yeah,
many
no,
other things.
that is. Does he get injured in it?
No, it's not him. It's the main guy. It's if you want something that you want to watch from the old days, put it on. It was
2000.
so good. We watched it probably a month
Yeah,
ago, and it was insane. We were just like,
it was
"What an
very good.
insane movie this
Yeah,
is!"
yeah. No, I remember enjoying it, and I don't like football.
Yeah, it was. It's an excellent
Yeah,
film.
very good choice.
I think it's is it not basketball?
No, it's Gridiron, isn't it?
Is it? Hang on. Oh, it is football. You're 100%
Yeah.
right. You're 100% right. And it's got Hayden Panettiere is in it as a little tiny kid, and she's like really like obsessed. It's just so it's like her dad is like a single dad. She doesn't have a mum. He's supposed to be the coach, but then they decide to what's the word they call when they merged the schools back in the day. Um,
Amalgamate.
no, it was called, when they decided to bring the African American kids in and everyone was against it. And they used
Oh,
to, the
yeah, yeah,
segregation
yeah.
of public
Segregation.
schools. And
Yeah.
so, because there was like the
So
town was just,
1981, that's set. That's
so
crazy.
it was blowing up, so they decided to have an African American coach, and they got rid of the coach and was just about to have integration. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And they kicked out the white guy, and they brought Denzel Washington in, and all the white kids were like, "Fuck you!
Yeah.
This is our final year. We are like killing it. We're going to win, and we can't do it without our coach." And he takes them to this like retreat and just ruins them pretty much. It's like,
and they end up winning though, don't they?
Yeah, takes them to the Battle of Gettysburg, shows them where everyone. It's beautiful. It's an incredibly moving film.
I do remember loving it. Yeah, and
watch it
that's
again.
saying
Trust
something.
me.
Yeah, no, I will, because the last time I saw it was 2000 in the cinemas.
It's excellent. Very good. What's your next one?
The only other movies I've got here were Aladdin, Milan were also faves, but I definitely lost interest in them, and we'll watch some of the live remakes to go back down memory lane. I also loved, as a child, Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Loved
Love
it.
Alice
And
in
Mary
Wonderland.
Poppins.
Yes.
Sister Suffragette. I'm going to play that for you when we're done too, just so you can see it. But my mum, I remember my mum picking Mary Poppins out on the beta tape back in the day, beta.
Beta was going to be the one that taped over
the
world.
world.
We had a beta,
We
and then
did
it ended
too.
up being
We've been down
VCR.
that,
And it was
yeah.
like,
VHS.
I can't get anything on beta.
I know. It was so devastating. This is your selection, beta. This is yours, VHS. Yeah, it was so horrendous. But I remember watching Mary Poppins. My mum loved that song in it. I love to laugh. Do you remember when they were all laughing and floating? Oh my God, you haven't seen it for ages. Do you remember the movie Bedknobs and Broomsticks?
Oh my God.
Had Angela Lansbury in it.
I had it on my list, but I took it off because I wasn't sure if you knew about it, because I was going to use Herbie as well.
Herbie the Love Bug. Yeah, the OG.
Yeah.
I loved Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Oh,
and I've
so
typed here,
did I.
I'd actually watch it again just for old time's sakes now.
And the Parent Trap, the original Parent Trap. And that's what I was saying, Pollyanna. I loved Pollyanna. Like, I used to watch that, and that was made in like the 60s, and I still loved that.
I don't think I ever saw Pollyanna, but
Pollyanna
yeah,
was a
Bedknobs
little
and
bit Anne
Broomsticks.
Green Gables-ish.
That whole fucking Cockney fucking family kids. Hello, what's that? That's a bed knob. Polish it. Do what? And do you remember the football game and the rhinoceroses were charging them and shit? Yeah.
Okay, well, I've got a couple.
I've also got, I'll just say this one. I've also got Lion King was amazing for its time with the cinematography.
Yes. Okay, so I'm not going to digress through a few of these. I'm just going to mention them. So if you loved Aladdin, then you would love The Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, look, it's funny because I had that down as a thing to talk about as well, but I took it off.
Well, I remember when I was first working, and this young guy came and started, and he was younger than me, and I was working at AGC, like fucking, I was probably 20, and he was like 18. He just, it was his first job. And we must have started talking about Aladdin or cartoons or whatever, and he said, "You've got to see The Emperor's New Groove." And he gave me his video, and I went home and watched it. He's like, "You have to watch it." And I was like, I'm not sure if I like it. Watched it, absolutely loved it. Thought it was very funny. Best thing ever. And it has that guy in it that has that really deep voice. He plays the really big guy. That's really funny.
Yeah. He's in he voices the
He's the one who goes out with Elaine in Seinfeld.
And he voices Joe in Family Guy.
Yes. That's him.
Oh, and I think he plays Tick in that, Tick and something. Yeah.
So my other one, which is really important to me, is, which you're not going to know, I guarantee you won't know this one, is Howl's Moving Castle. Have you ever seen that?
No.
So this, and I didn't even know it was Disney. I was shocked when I saw this, but this is like a Japanese anime that they put together. So Emily Mortimer's in it. Christian Bale is one of the voice characters. So it's basically, it's really abstract, but it's such a crazy cool story.
Okay.
And Link got into it. Mum actually put it on for him one day, and then Link was super into it and wanted to watch it all the time. And it used to come down to like, he'd be like, "What movie are we watching tonight?" Mum would be like, what do you want to watch? He'd be like, oh, it's between this, and this. And one of them would always be How's Moving Castle. And I was like, put How's Moving Castle on. I fucking loved that movie. And I'm not a massive anime person, but it is insane. Like, it is so cool. It's about this like chick who ends up being an old person, because she gets like, she's really young, and then she comes across a potion and someone tries to poison her, and then she ends up being an old person. She lives her life being this old person for years, and everyone
Wow.
thinks she's this really super old person, but she's not. She's like a young person in an old person's body. It's cool as shit.
Okay. And what's it called?
How's Moving Castle?
HOWS? How is?
HOWLS.
Oh, How's Moving
How's
Castle,
Moving
right.
Castle. And then my other two is Madagascar. How could you
I
not
do
love
like Madagascar.
with the penguins? Come on, come on. Penguins are the
Yeah.
best.
Smile and wave, boys. Just smile and wave.
And then Meet the Robinsons.
Is that the Pixar one as well?
It's a Disney. So that's the one where the
Well,
kid
Pixar's owned by Disney.
goes back in time. And he goes and sees all his family and stuff like that, years and years in the past, but it's also futuristic. And it's a really cool movie. It was one of the other ones where Lincoln would be like, what are we watching? I'm like, Meet the Robinsons, put that one on. So that's it then. I think we're pretty drunk.
So also I really got into the Pixar movies, which is owned by Disney. So I love the Toy Story series, Finding Nemo.
Oh, Finding Nemo is one of the best.
Monsters Inc. Became slightly obsessed with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the like when I saw, not the Buzz Lightyear one, the one before that, the final Toy Story. I took Link to see it. I cried. I bawled my eyes out.
Number 3 or 4?
4.
Vinny and our first movie date was Toy Story 3. And he bought me Ham the pig as a stuffed thing. I've still got it. Do you remember when they were all there holding hands going down the incinerator?
Yes. Oh, maybe that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, because that was just like, what the fuck is happening?
Is where Woody goes on his own, doesn't he? The 4th one's where Woody's on his own.
Oh, Woody. The second one's where Woody. You find out about Woody's backstory and everything.
Yes,
the 4th one's got,
and that's
Forky,
where the chick comes into it. The redhead. What's the redhead one? Jessie.
Yeah.
They're all very good.
They're all very good.
Are very good.
Okay, so for something that we didn't have much to go on, we've also made a 7-hour story.
You're gonna have to cut so much out of this.
It's so funny how that ends up.
Okay, please. Well, thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed our little Disney special, please.
Tune in next week for Back in Time and discuss. Tune in next week for Back in Time as we discuss some truly inspiring historical stories from yesteryear, where people overcome their most atrocious of situations or never give up in their fight for what's right. And remember, get onto your podcast platform. And remember, get onto your podcast platform and like our episode and the podcast, and then share it. Like literally share it by clicking the share button and telling the world how much you love drunken bitches. And remember, if you're whining, you're winning. Good night, stupid bitches.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah, that stupid bitch. He's a stupid bitch. What a stupid bitch. That stupid bitch.